Hello and welcome to the channel. Since spring training has started up, most of the players are now on their respective teams. We're going to rank all the teams' offseason moves from best to worst. As you can see here, we have 6 tiers. We're going to go ahead and name all these. That leaves us with fantasy draft, great but not the Dodgers, moves I can explain in job interviews, a step back, below replacement level, and poverty franchise. Now to start us off, let's start with the easy one. Dodgers are in fantasy draft. They seem to get whatever player they want every offseason, and money doesn't seem to be an issue. They really make it look like they picked the first 40 picks in their fantasy team and then everyone gets the scraps. I mean, let's go through their ads. They got Blake Snell, 5 years. They got Sasaki, one of the best players coming from Japan. They brought back Teoscar, clutch player. Brought in a ton of great closers. Brought in Hae-Seok Kim from Korea, and brought back the most important piece, the team's heartbeat, Kike Hernandez. All this while not losing much in Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty, and Gavin Lux. Keeping it in the West, I'm going to move on to the Giants, and I think for now we're going to put them in step back. Well, I think adding veteran Justin Verlander to a team who was only a few years removed from winning a Cy Young, and adding Willie Adams, overall, not the additions they need, and subtractions in Blake Snell going to the rival Dodgers, I gotta put them down. Along similar lines, we're gonna keep Padres also in step back. Padres also losing their best closer to the Dodgers in Tanner Scott, and losing big pieces in Jurickson Profar and Hae-Seok Kim to other teams. Well, I like the Nick Pivetta ad. Overall, I have to say it's a downgrade, and I think we're gonna put them at below replacement level now that I see their transactions. See, next we have the Rockies. Instinctively, I'm putting them in poverty franchise. Let's see what moves they did. I don't remember hearing anything. Yeah, not many transactions. Nothing that's really moving the needle here. So, not a whole lot of money spent. For the final team in the West, we got the Diamondbacks. I think instinctively, I'm going to put them at great, but not the Dodgers. It's refresh. I know they got the big splash of Corbin Burns, which was quite unexpected. Josh Naylor was a great trade from the Guardians. I like Grichuk, and that's pretty cheap deal. They did lose Christian Walker to the Astros and Jock Peterson, which are big bats. But overall, Corbin Burns is the best starter that was available. So I'm going to keep him at great, but not the Dodgers. Moving on to the AL West, we'll go to my team, the Angels, and I'm going to move them to moves I can explain in job interviews. Now, the Angels have been bad for a long time, but I think they really did make some great moves. While they did lose some longtime pitchers in Patrick Sandoval, Griffith Canning, they didn't have the greatest seasons the last few years. They had big splashes early with additions of Kikuchi, Soler, Travis, who's going to be a great addition to mentoring Ohapi at catcher. Finally got back up to Rendon because he never plays. We'll see what Kyle Hendricks has left in the tank. And I think they can be happy having a future Hall of Famer in Kenley Jansen on the squad. They're taking a lot of low risk, high reward with Mancada and Tim Anderson. So hopefully we get 2019 White Sox and not more recently. Now on to the minor league team of the AL West. We're going to go to the formerly known Oakland Athletics. I would put them next to the Angels in moves I can explain, but they really only spent the money so they wouldn't get a grievance from the union. So for that, we're going to kick them down to step back. But I do like their additions that are going to add to that nice young core they got going on there. They may be one of the better teams in the AL West. On to the lonely neighbors up north, we're going to put the Seattle Mariners at poverty franchise. For a team that's really in their window, they really don't want to make that move to give them that bat that they need. Doesn't matter how good their pitching staff is, if they don't score runs, what are we doing? Now over to Texas, we're going to go to Houston Astros, who we're also going to put on a step back. They've still got a pretty good team, but the pieces they lost weren't replaced by better players. And we've lost most of that World Series core at this point. Now to the final team of the West, we're going to go to the Texas Rangers, who we're going to put, I think, next to the Angels on moves I can explain. They did a lot of moves this offseason, but it's hard to tell if it's going to add up to back to form. I like the big bats in Jock and Jake Berger. Adding pitching is always a great deal. Extending Eovaldi is a good part of that core. Really, I don't think they need to add much. They just need the guys they already have to perform. Now moving to the AL Central, I think we're going to put most of these teams right at a step back. They didn't make the moves that I kind of wanted them to, and none of them really did anything to break away from the pack. What team are we missing here? Oh, the Tigers. White Sox, of course, go to the poverty franchise. I think any of these teams just needed to make one good signing, and they could have taken control of this division. Actually, I think I'm going to move Tigers up one with some good additions of pitching. Really wish they would have gotten Alex Bregman, though. A lot of the same for the NL West. Not a lot of additions to really break anyone from the pack. I think the team I like the most out of this division is the Cubs. I think we're going to put them up in moves I can explain. I like the addition of Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley from the Astros. They did lose some bats, though, with the loss of Bellinger and Paredes. Cardinals might be one of our worst offenders. They didn't make any additions this offseason, and we're really just trying to sell house. So they go poverty. Pirates are going to go below replacement level. They didn't add the pieces they needed, and they're wasting some of those nice young players they have on that team. Reds, I'm going to put a step back. They did add some, but overall net negative. Brewers, once again, just let pieces go and don't do much to replace them. So we're going to put them at below replacement level. And that moves us to the AL East. Blue Jays had a lot of swings and misses. Kind of were after every player that was available. I'm going to put them at moves that they can explain in job interviews. They finally made a big splash with Anthony Santander. And while who knows how much Max Scherzer has in the tank, he's a good guy to have around. Orioles are another team that just don't seem to want to win now with what they have. And they lost a lot more than they brought back in. So we're going to put them at a step back. I like the addition of Tyler O'Neill. He was great with the Red Sox. And I like Charlie Morton. He's a workhorse of the Braves, but he's no Corbin Burns. Rays, we're going to put a poverty franchise. They just never do anything every offseason. Probably for good reason. Red Sox, we're going to put at great, but not the Dodgers. I think they had the second best offseason. They didn't lose too many big pieces, and they added Alex Bregman, one of the best bats available. People will forget that they made that huge trade with the White Sox for Garrett Croquette. Moving on to their rival, we'll put the Yankees right next to them, as they didn't get their guy, but they spent a whole lot of money and got some good people in. Max Fried's going to be a dog up in the Bronx, and Devin Williams should shut things down. We'll see what Cody and Goldschmidt do with that short porch. And while there's no replacing Juan Soto, I think they did a pretty good job. Last but not least, we move on to the NL East. Nationals we're going to put at the bottom here as well. They just don't seem ready to enter their window yet and haven't done any big splashes. Phillies have had their championship contending team for a few years now, and it looks like they're going to run it back one more time. They didn't make any huge additions, so we're just going to do a slight step back. Marlins always have been a poverty franchise, and we're not even going to go into that. Braves actually lost a lot more pieces than I realized, and they didn't add much to the team. So we're going to put them below replacement level. Doesn't mean they don't have a great team, but it looks like they're going to rely on what's within. And finally, we have the Mets, who of course are going to go great, but not the Dodgers. They got their guy. They got the number one player. Cost them a whole lot of money. Of course, they're better. I don't think they filled all their gaps, but you're not upset with getting Juan Soto. And that's it for my tier list. Please let me know what you think and what I got wrong. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.